Welcome. In this video, we will guide you through the conversion from a behind-the-rotor seal to a component mechanical stuffing box seal in Viking pumps, stainless steel pumps with U+ bracket and Pro Port casing. This video applies to these pump models. Before you begin, please consult the appropriate technical service manual for safety information. A copy of the latest revision can be found on our website at vikingpump.com. To begin, remove the stainless steel window guards from the bracket. Next, bend up the tang of the lock washer. Place a brass or hardwood bar into the port opening to keep the pump from turning. Loosen and remove the lock nut. Remove and discard the lock washer. Loosen the bearing housing set screws. Loosen and remove the bearing housing. Remove the bearing spacer collar. The collar may have come out with the bearing housing. Remove the half-round rings. Loosen and remove the head cap screws. Remove the head by tilting it backward to prevent the idler from falling off the idler pin. Remove and discard the head gasket. Remove the rotor shaft. A soft-headed hammer may be used to tap on the end of the shaft to aid with removal. Loosen the 4 rotary seal face set screws. Remove and discard the rotary seal face. Next, using a tool or piece of pipe that is similar in diameter, carefully rock the stationary seal out of the bore. Discard the seal. Remove the seal washer. Using a screwdriver and soft-headed hammer, carefully tap out the lip seal. Loosen and remove the casing cap screws and remove the casing. Remove and discard the bracket gasket. Clean out any old grease from the bracket. Remove the grease relief fitting and grease zerk. At this point, the bushing will need to be removed and a new bushing installed in the stuffing box seal position. Using a hydraulic press, carefully press out the old bushing. When installing, use care to avoid breaking or damaging the carbon graphite bushing. Bushings with lubrication grooves should be installed with the groove at the 12 o'clock position and the notches facing the shaft end of the pump. Lubricate the bushing and ensure it is started straight. Use the press to completely install the bushing in one continuous motion. Starting and stopping may crack the bushing. Before reassembly, ensure the casing, bracket, head, idler pin, idler, and rotor shaft are free of any debris or wear. Replace any worn components. Install the bracket gasket. Apply appropriate gasket sealant to the bracket and ensure even coverage on both sides of the gasket. Install the casing. Lubricate and install the rotor shaft. Install any required suckback or flush lines by first removing the appropriate plugs. Then, using the appropriate thread sealant, install the fittings. Install the line. Install the head gasket. Apply appropriate gasket sealant to the head and ensure even coverage on both sides of the gasket. Install the idler onto the idler pin. Install the head. Ensure that the relief valve is oriented toward the suction port. Install the seal installation sleeve with the taper toward the end of the shaft. Lubricate the shaft and install the rotary member of the mechanical seal. Remember to remove the seal installation sleeve. Before reaching the bracket bore, remove the 4 seal clips to engage the seal. Finish installing the seal until the set screws line up with the seal access hole in the bracket. Insert a hex head wrench into a set screw to keep the seal from sliding as you complete the rest of the installation. Next, place the PTFE gasket around the stationary seal seat and slide onto the shaft. Install the gasket into the seal holder and slide onto the shaft. Insert the T-bolts and install the lock nuts, but do not fully tighten at this time. Install the half-round rings. Install the bearing spacer collar with the cup side over the half-round rings. Install the bearing housing and fully tighten until the shaft will not turn. This point is known as zero end clearance. Install the lock washer by aligning the tab through the slot on the shaft. Install the lock nut. Place a brass or hardwood bar into the port opening to keep the pump from turning. Torque the lock nut to the appropriate torque setting. This setting can be found in the technical service manual. Remove the brass bar. Bend a tang of the lock washer into a slot of the lock nut. If no tang aligns, continue to tighten the lock nut until one does. Failure to tighten the lock nut or engage the lock washer tab could result in early bearing failure and cause damage to the rest of the pump. Now set the end clearance. The end clearance setting can be found in the technical service manual. Loosen the bearing housing and insert the appropriate feeler gauge between the rotor face and idler bushing. Tighten the bearing housing until there is a slight drag when moving the feeler gauge between the face of the rotor and idler bushing. Once end clearance is set, tighten the 2 set screws in the face of the bearing housing. You can now set the seal. Confirm that the seal set screws are aligned with the seal access hole. Tighten each set screw until it just contacts the shaft. Then fully tighten each set screw. Next, fully tighten the seal holder lock nuts. Turn the shaft to ensure the pump turns freely. Using appropriate thread sealant, install plugs into the seal access holes. Reinstall the window guards. Ensure that the retaining washer is placed between the guard and bracket faces. Finally, grease the bearing housing until grease begins to appear around the lock washer. Your pump has now been converted from a behind the rotor seal to a stuffing box component mechanical seal and is ready to be put back into service. For more information or to view other service videos, please visit our website at vikingpump.com.